When humans leave Earth's gravity behind and travel into the weightless environment of space, our bodies actually begin to stretch out. This diagram shows exactly how much. Without gravity constantly pressing down on the spine, an astronaut can gain up to 3% of their total height within just their first few days in orbit. Take NASA astronaut Kate Rubins, for example. Before she launched to the International Space Station, she stood at exactly 171 centimeters. By the time she was working in microgravity, she had stretched to 174.4 centimeters. And this happens regardless of baseline height. Astronaut Paolo Nespoli is already quite tall by aerospace standards, standing at 188 centimeters on Earth. In space, he grows right alongside the rest of the crew. This orbital growth spurt is the first outward symptom of a severe biological crisis. That sudden elongation of the spine triggers intense, sleep-disrupting back pain for a large majority of astronauts aboard the ISS. Even worse, the medical danger doesn't end when the crew returns home. Reintroducing a stretched spine to full Earth gravity creates a massive vulnerability for injuries. This graphic compares a healthy disc with a herniated one. After months in a lengthened, unsupported state, an astronaut's risk of suffering a spinal disc herniation like this jumps by 400% once they are back in gravity. Surviving the trip home is one thing, but solving why this painful stretch happens is a mandatory hurdle NASA has to clear before sending anyone deeper into the solar system. For years, researchers assumed the intervertebral discs, the soft, fluid-filled pads between our spinal bones, were the main culprit. The theory was that, without gravity compressing them, these discs acted like sponges, absorbing fluid and swelling up to push the vertebrae apart. But a 2016 study led by Dr. Douglas Chang completely disproved this sponge theory by taking MRI scans of astronauts before and after long-duration missions. The discs weren't swelling at all. This animation shows the actual cause of the height gain. A human spine naturally holds a set of gentle, spring-like curves. In zero gravity, that coiled structure simply relaxes and straightens out. A straighter spine is a longer spine. Chang's team also discovered a highly dangerous secondary effect. On Earth, your paraspinal muscles, the lean tissues supporting your back, work all day to hold you upright. In space, they are entirely unemployed. This cross-section reveals the damage. Over the course of a mission, that lean supporting muscle mass atrophies, dropping by a staggering 19%. These biomechanical shifts mean astronauts return to Earth with a longer, looser, and deeply weakened spinal column. Tracking this degradation in orbit is a massive logistical challenge. You can't just launch a standard clinical MRI machine to the ISS. They are far too heavy and require too much electricity. Instead, NASA trained astronauts to use compact, handheld ultrasound machines to scan each other's backs while floating in the station. The crew takes ultrasound snapshots of their lumbar region, the lower back, and their cervical region, the neck, at intervals of 30, 90, and 150 days into the mission. Documenting this tissue breakdown in real time gives doctors the exact data they need to develop countermeasures against the debilitating back pain astronauts experience in flight. Biology is only half the problem. This spinal stretch also creates a massive headache for the field of anthropometry, the scientific study of human body measurements. In aerospace engineering, every single millimeter matters. An astronaut's exact physical dimensions dictate the size of the hatches, the layout of the living quarters, and the placement of the control panels. When an astronaut's spine lengthens in space, their seated height increases. Their shoulders sit higher, which completely alters the geometry of their arm reach. Looking at this spacesuit diagram, you can see the immediate danger. A custom-fitted suit designed for a crew member's Earth height suddenly lacks the internal volume for their new shape, causing the fabric to pull tightly against the shoulders and restrict arm movement. During re-entry, the risk becomes life-threatening. A custom-molded seat designed to protect an astronaut's original spine geometry may fail to support their new, taller frame when exposed to extreme G-forces. Engineers are forced to build million-dollar hardware for a human body that will literally change its shape in the middle of the mission. All of these stakes multiply when we look past standard 6-month ISS rotations and toward the multi-year timeline required for a crewed mission to Mars. A herniated disc on the red planet is a catastrophic event. Without a hospital nearby, a single slipped disc becomes a fatal mission failure. To prevent this, space agencies are testing physical countermeasures, like the experimental Mk6 skin suit. The skin suit compresses the astronaut's body from shoulders to feet, physically recreating the downward pull of gravity to keep the spine loaded and stable. Mechanical interventions like the skin suit rely heavily on biological mapping, such as NASA's twin study, which sent astronaut Scott Kelly to the ISS for nearly a year to monitor his physical adaptations to the void. By comparing Scott to his identical twin brother, Mark, who remained on Earth, scientists can isolate exactly which tissues microgravity destroys. The extra inches an astronaut gains in orbit vanish just weeks after they return to Earth's surface. But solving the deep biological weakness those inches leave behind is the mandatory first step to conquering the solar system.